What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. LeBron James says the Clippers are the better team. And, you know, when I was watching ESPN First Take, I was listening to Stephen A. Smith speak about this. And he was just basically irate about it, you know, because he was saying that, you know, no Laker that he can remember would ever say anything like this or has ever said anything like this about the hometown rival right next door, or should I say right down the hallway, you know, from them is the better team. But, you know, LeBron James is definitely one of those superstars who acknowledges things, and he also lives in reality. And the reality is there's no way he can sit there and defend his Lakers when they lost to a team 4 straight times without neither one of their superstars. And this last time where they had neither one of their superstars, both of them sitting on the side of the bench laughing and enjoying themselves because they're watching their third leading scorer or their third best player on the team, and Reggie Jackson go out there and look like the best player on the team and scoring 36 points and, I mean, basically just erupting in that fourth quarter. I mean, it was, you know, a sight to see by Reggie, and definitely, you know what I'm saying, definitely made some sparks around the NBA world based upon what he done to the Los Angeles Lakers, you know, just in the fact of, you know, how he did that, you know, to a Lakers team who's supposed to play with a lot more pride than what they are or than what they did. And, you know, you look at that game for one, you know, at that second quarter going into halftime, you know, the Lakers go on that 15-0 run to basically change the trajectory of that whole game and how the outcome was supposed to be. You know, it just looked like, well, it might be one of those nail biter games again where it comes down to the last shot, the bitter end. And, you know, when you looked at that, you thought, oh, okay, well, they went on a 15-0 run before halftime. Now the score is 66-63, I think it was. And you thought that it would be a very close game going forward. And you thought maybe it would be, like I said, one of those games that they had the previous time they played, where it came down to the last possession, basically. And I think Anthony Davis played that game, I'm not sure. But still, it came down to the last possession. And Anthony Davis missed a one-handed floater. It may have been a couple games ago, but still, you thought it was coming down to that when the Lakers actually made that run before halftime. But then the Clippers come back out after the halftime and basically put their foot back on the gas and never really look back. I mean, so when LeBron James says that, he's telling a lot of truth. I mean, he's being very, very truthful about what he's saying. The Clippers are the better team. I mean, when you get swept by a team in one season, you have to give that team credit. And one thing about LeBron, he definitely gives credit where credit is due, even though a lot of people don't agree with him doing stuff like that, like Stephen A. and like other NBA fans, or, you know, other Lakers fans, whatever you want to call them. They don't agree with you doing that because in the Lakers jersey, you supposed to represent the Laker pride in a different way, and you don't ever admit the opponent or the op, you know what I'm saying, you don't never give them the upper hand. And basically LeBron just, you know, he had to. I mean, he had no choice, because when, you know, they played the Clippers 4 straight times in this season, they had 4 opportunities to play the Clippers this season, and they lost every one. And they've lost, a matter of fact, over the last several years, they lost to the Clippers more than I thought they have. So, I mean, you know, overall, I guess over the last couple of years, I mean, based upon the two teams, you know, the Clippers have been the better team in the matchup between both teams. And, you know, it's starting to, the Clippers are starting to make this look like it's not even a rivalry. It's just, they're just starting to look like they're just overall a better team, you know. So, and I said a couple of years ago, even in the bubble, you know, the Lakers were very fortunate, I thought, you know, that the Clippers didn't play them in a 7-game series, because I just feel like that's the one team that can beat them. A lot of people didn't see it then. A lot of people don't see it now, but that's the one team that's their kryptonite, of course. I mean, you know, they just can't seem to shake that team. And then on top of that, you're losing to them without Kawhi and PG. Imagine if they had Kawhi and PG. Now, of course, if the Lakers had Anthony Davis, maybe they'd be a little bit better, but it wouldn't be much better because they still don't have any defense. Their defense is not that good. So when you can't play defense at a high level and neutralize the other team from scoring, it doesn't matter how good offensively you are or how many superstars you have on your roster. And I think the Lakers really are starting to see that. I mean, not only just playing against the Clippers, but playing against other teams in the NBA. It's showing that it doesn't matter who's on your roster. It matters how you gel and what type of chemistry you have and how you're building as a unit, game after game. And losing to teams like the Pelicans and the Thunder and all those type teams that they've lost to. Well, they lost to the Pelicans lately, I believe. I mean, they've lost to teams throughout this season that they should have beaten very easily. And I've said before, you got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat if you really want to be a good team in the NBA. You can't lose the teams you're supposed to beat. And that's just something that, the Lakers have done a lot. And I'm not saying they're supposed to beat the Clippers because the Clippers are the better team. And that's just the way it is. I mean, a sweep 4-0 in a season, that's hard to do, to beat a team 4 straight times in a season, especially without both of your superstars. You would think that's damn near unheard of. So, I'm not, harping on LeBron's comments too much in a bad way because he just basically spoke the truth. That's the better team. You got to acknowledge it. And they play harder. They play smarter. They got a better coach. And on top of that, their culture is better, apparently, in the Clippers locker room rather than in the Lakers locker room. It's too much confusion in the Lakers locker room, too much about trades, too much about releasing players or letting them go, trying to get somebody else in there, too much, drama about Frankie V not getting not coaching the team right. LeBron is doing too much complaining while he's aging. Russ is not getting much better with the chemistry with this team because he really just doesn't fit. And I think he's about over it. And Anthony Davis is always in street clothes. So when you look at all that in its entirety and bag it all up, they're a mess. They're just a team that's in the NBA that has several more games to go in the scheduling before the playoffs, and they might not even make the play-in tournament. Who knows? I would suspect them to make the play-in tournament, but at the same time, looking at this team, the way they're losing games and the way they lost against the Clippers the other night, it really just solidified, what they're going through, which is a very, very tough season. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better anytime soon. So, you tip your cap off to the Clippers, because for them to go out there and play the way they did and just dominate a game without no superstars on the floor against a team who has 2 superstars in LeBron and Russell Westbrook and a decent team around them, it's very, very it was very good to see, and because the Clippers don't get the credit they deserve, and the Clippers definitely deserve more flowers, and so does Ty Lue. But it was very disturbing to see as an NBA fan, just overall. If anything, you want to see those games against the Clippers, be like the last couple matchups. Come down to the last shot. The last possession. Who shoots the ball last. You want those games to come down to that because you just expect them to, because it's supposed to be a rivalry. Even though you want your team to win, that's understandable, but you still want to see a good game. And don't get me wrong, the blowout was that was good to see too. But at the same time, you would think the Lakers would put up more fight, and that's the reason why I believe LeBron James just had to say they're a better team, or at least at the moment they're a better team. Because right now, it's evident, and they're playing like it. And like I said, the way the Clippers are going, they have an opportunity to actually get into that 6th seed and actually get a playoff spot. So, they're actually doing bigger things than what a lot of people thought, and you gotta gotta shout them out for that, because I didn't see them possibly being able to do what they're doing right now, but they're doing it, and Ty Lue is definitely pulling the right strings. And, I'm pretty sure the Lakers are kicking themselves as an organization, because Ty Lue was supposed to be the coach of the Lakers, but it just didn't work out. And upper management listening to the wrong people, making the wrong decisions, and now the Lakers are in the predicament they're in. So, I definitely don't have nothing against LeBron's comments. I think what he said is just, and even Stephen A. and maybe the rest of the NBA world who don't agree with LeBron's comments about the Clippers, they have to respect it either way, because honestly, right now, it's true, and there's no other way to look at it. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Kelly out.